Strike Zone. This week's matchup, Major League and Fright Night 1985. Starring Tom Berenger, Amanda Bierce, Charlie Sheen, Roddy McDowell, Wesley Snipes, William Ragsdale, Chris Sarandon, and Milwaukee's very own Brad Weber. Now two guys who are just a bit outside and know it.
We are live, everybody. This is our inaugural show of Dead on the Bases. Do you have a beverage? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I am. I have to wet my whistle. Yeah, I'm ready.
That's funny. That's like the first one, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the first one that they're seeing.
Yeah. And I see you brought your own ice, so that's always nice.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to be watching two movies here.
Yep.
We watched the movies. We're going to review them.
I'm Jeff Miller.
He's Jeff Miller. He's our sports guy. I'm Tim Kretschmann. I'm the vampire. I'm the horror guy.
Yeah.
Or I'm horrible. One of the two.
Vampire umpire. There we go. You get the sports and horror reference.
All right. So the movies that we have tonight, why don't you just do a quick introduction of the movie you had me do?
Major League, one of my favorite movies. I'm a baseball fan, and this is obviously one of my top baseball movies, top sports movies of all time. First of all, it took place in Milwaukee. We have a couple Milwaukee people actually in the movie. It came out at the right time in my life. It's just a great movie.
And the hairstyle by that baseball right there, the same hairstyle Jeff has underneath that hat, just so you know.
I wish I had that much hair to put up in that mohawk.
The movie I picked for Jeff is Fright Night, the 1985, not the 2011 version, one of my favorite horror movies. I picked it specifically because I thought it was a little less frightening than some of them that we have coming up. I am told I'm an idiot. But we'll talk about Fright Night I think it's Tom Holland's inaugural directing movie. He had already written a couple movies by this time, and then he went on to make Child's Play, another big 80s horror movie.
I got plenty to tell you about Chucky.
Okay,
let's tell him real quick though. The reason why this is sort of tilted on me is because I don't like horror movies. I don't watch them. I mean, I know Tim has watched some sports movies, but he's more geared this way. I just don't watch them, but you know what? I want to do this project, and it's interesting. Let's just put it that way. It's been interesting so far.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this, and when I found out that Dead on the Bases was like an actual term, I was like, what? Really? That's perfect.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with you so that you can get all your fear and anxiety out of you?
Oh, well, why don't we just tell them about the fear and anxiety that started tonight? I've come over here to tape this.
Yeah.
And now Tim had me watch this Fright Night, and we'll get into that, but Tim's not home. And so I would just wait in my Jeep. No big deal. I'll wait in my car. All of a sudden, his garage door starts going up. And I get this text saying, go in the house. Now, what are you I watched a horror movie that had to deal with a house. And you had me going into a house. I thought for sure this was a setup, Tim.
He thought I was up to something, and I was just trying to keep him out of the rain.
Oh, yeah. I was sweating. I was sweating it, man. I'm telling you.
I apologize
that's all right.
for you being such a wuss. All right, so
Fright Night. So, Fright Night 1985. So I'm watching this movie, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that scary. I mean, this was on a scale of 1 to 10 scary from Jeff. It was maybe like a 4. Okay. Would you agree? A 4, maybe?
On the fright index, yeah, it's probably a 4. I actually think a lot of people underplay the horror. It had some good scary parts to it, but it's not terrifying.
It's not terrifying. I mean,
it's scarier than Bela Lugosi playing Dracula. It's definitely scary.
I'll take your word on that. Yeah. There was some parts that were.
Hold on, I gotta mark that down.
I actually paused. I'm like, okay, no. So yeah, there was some scary parts. I mean, so it's about a kid and his girlfriend, and they watch this TV show called Fright Night, and it has to deal with vampires. Roddy McDowell plays the vampire killer, and then a vampire moves in next door. Yeah, there's I
got it right over your face.
Yeah, Amanda Bierce. Yeah, and that's something I want to bring up. They could have picked out someone better for Amanda Bierce's part. She's a 26-year-old playing a teenager. She looks way too old. That's not her. That's evil. And that's Roddy McDowell. See, I did watch this. I didn't just
Oh, I know you did
I didn't just
because you were
Wikipedia.
very freaked out.
See, look at that. I mean, are you kidding me with that? Nah, geez. But then when I saw that's Amanda Bierce right there.
Yeah.
You remember her from Married with Children?
Yes, and nothing else. It's like this movie and that,
And then you got
and
Evil.
call it a career.
Yeah, and then you have Roddy McDowell. Look at this. I know all. That's the Sarandon guy. I know
Chris
what's going on.
Sarandon, who is known to a lot of people for The Princess Bride
Oh, yeah.
as Prince Humperdinck.
Is that Susan Sarandon's brother? Would that be her brother?
I
Or
can't
relation?
remember if it's a brother. It is a relation. I can't remember exactly how they're related, but
So,
it could be brother.
He was a scary looking vampire. It was scary looking. I mean, it had that fear, that terror at the end of it. But let me get back to Amanda Bierce first.
Okay.
I didn't, and I know that's such nothing, but they could have found a younger girl
Oh, yeah.
to play that part. I don't know how she got that part. I just didn't believe she was a teenager. And then she turns into that.
Well, and
then
she
it's just like
becomes, she
that.
her character throughout the movie is, she's a little bit of a shrew. She acts like an older wife
Right.
than a teenage girl. A teenage girl would probably find this more fun. And they do have that aspect because at one point, the vampire Jerry Dandridge kind of takes a shine to her because she looks like, and she's kind of enjoying it, which a young girl would like that.
But there's no way that a young girl comes on with him on the dance floor like that. There's no way. I'm sorry. He was too old for her to be dancing.
Yeah, but he can hypnotize people like that.
There's a lot of things about this movie that I have to ask you about, but
Sure.
so as far as scary wise, yeah, I could say this is a very good, let's get Jeff into the swing of things, because it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it was scary, and
it didn't kill you, I have those movies. They're in this house.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't want to do that to you,
So the question I have for you, but I think I figured out. So the vampire, he's got the kid. What's his name?
Charlie.
He's got Charlie by the neck in his bedroom.
Yes.
He's got him over the window.
Yes.
And then Charlie stabs him. Does he stab him with a wooden pencil? Is that what got him freaked out?
A wooden pencil.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, so it came out of the cup holder. He had a wooden pencil and he stabbed him and he went away.
Right.
Honestly, if it was me and the vampire had me up and he said, hey, let's just forget about this stuff, I would have said, yeah, let's forget about it. And I would have figured out a way to
get him later.
Yeah, exactly. So
I agree.
But then the movie's over in a half an hour.
Right.
But that's what I would have done. The other thing is where did Charlie's mom go? I know she was working at night, but she was never home. She never came home.
She was only necessary for a few scenes.
I know.
And then,
And why did the vampire... Okay, so he sucks. So with Amanda Bierce, he turned her into a vampire. I get that.
And by the way, this is one of those movies that...
Am I looking into it too much?
Well, it's one of these movies that's fast-paced, so if you do stop and think about it, it falls apart fairly easily.
Okay, good.
It does fall apart, yeah.
So why the first few victims did he cut the head off? But he didn't cut off the head of Amanda Bierce because he wanted to be that girl that was in the painting?
I think he wanted to turn her instead of just eat her.
Okay.
So I think that was the reasoning behind it.
So he ate the other one?
Yeah. I know, there were hotter ones that he ate. I was like, dude.
So another thing.
I by the way, I have interviewed William Ragsdale.
Wait, William Ragsdale, which
is Charlie.
Charlie, yep, okay.
And I've interviewed Billy Cole, who was the helper. He was like the demon friend. And I got to interview Chris Sarandon.
Which was your best interview?
Williams Ragsdale was very nice, but Billy Cole was great.
Really?
He went on to produce, like, according to Jim, and he did a lot of sitcoms.
Okay.
And he was just a very interesting behind-the-scenes type of guy at the point in the career where I talked to him. William Ragsdale still does make television and movies.
Really?
I think he was in an episode of Blue Bloods not too long ago. So he does stuff. He doesn't do a lot, but he does stuff.
And you interviewed Sarandon also?
Yeah, and Sarandon, he knew he was an actor of kind of a different caliber.
Really?
A good enough guy, but yeah, he knew that. And the thing was, he was an excellent interview because he had obviously been trained how to do interviews.
Sure.
Which you can always tell. You can tell this.
I can tell that.
When you talk to a guy and you're like, okay, he went through the media training. He knows what to say, what to kind of walk away from, all of that stuff.
2 words. Ryan Braun.
Yeah, well, he knew what he was doing.
Yep.
But to a certain extent, he didn't come off as natural because of that.
And to that, Ryan Braun, when I interview Ryan Braun after ball games, he sounds like a robot. He sounds like he's been programmed what to say. He knows exactly what to say for whatever situation, and it doesn't come across as genuine or real or in the moment. I mean, he could have hit a home run to win the ball game, in the bottom of the ninth in the 7th game of the World Series, and it would sound like he hit a first inning home run in the 2nd game of the season. It sounds exactly the same. Now, I have a couple more questions about the movie.
You go.
What was the whole deal with? Okay, so Evil. Okay,
Evil Ed.
Yeah. So
played
he
by
turns
Stephen
into
Jeffries.
he turned into a
werewolf.
vampire.
Yeah.
Okay, was he a vampire or was he a werewolf? What was he?
He was a vampire.
Explain this for me.
If you read the actual vampire mythology, bats are what they turn into because Universal Studios had lots of rubber bats, and that's what they could
Really?
do. In the original legends, they could shapeshift into a number of different, what were considered lower animals. They wouldn't turn into like a horse because that's considered a good, useful animal. It was animals that people felt creepy around, which would be bats and rats and wolves. And they already, because Universal was also making big money with something called the Wolfman, they never let a vampire turned into a wolf because, hey, that's a different movie.
Okay.
So they didn't want to give away all the good stuff.
I gotcha. All right, so then that explains that. And then what? So the male friend, who was that again?
Yeah, Billy Cole.
What was he? Because Roddy McDowall thought he was going to be a human.
You are asking the correct question because this has been debated for years. Some people think he's a golem. Some people say he's just a demon. Some claim he's been with them for like 100 years. The fact of the matter is nobody knows. It never got written out. It's just something that was super creepy because it actually pays, that particular scene pays homage to 2 past horror movies.
Oh, all right.
Do you know?
No, I don't. But I want to know. I'm going to compare it to something.
Go ahead.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The theatrics of that demon dying or whatever.
Yes.
The first thing that came to my mind, one of the final scenes of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, very much. Those effects are very similar.
Exactly that's the first thing that came to my mind. But go ahead.
But from a horror standpoint, and you're going to hate this because this is the horror movie you will not allow me to show you.
I can tell you right now what that is, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's Halloween.
Oh, Jesus.
When he sits up initially after being shot, that is exactly the way Michael Myers sits up in Halloween. And then when he's creeping up the steps and they both kind of look and they turn around, that's an exact recreation of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Really? Cool.
That sort of thing happens, and it's an Abbott and Costello gag.
That's cool.
They threw in there.
That's cool.
Yeah, you didn't know you were going to learn things on this show.
I'm glad that I am. But the cool thing is, and then we watched the scene in the basement when he was running down there.
Yes.
He had to break open all the windows, and I mean, there's a point where Roddy McDowall, I thought he was toast. And what was Charlie doing? Charlie didn't come. Yeah. Charlie didn't even really come to his help at first. And what's he doing?
The original ending of the movie was Roddy McDowall did get changed into a vampire.
What?
And he's hosting Fright Night, and he says, I'm coming for you, Charlie, or something like that.
Oh
And
my
instead of-
God.
you know, he still kind of says something to Charlie there. So that was the initial intention, and I don't know where in the process they kind of said, no, we can't do that to Roddy.
I wouldn't be able to handle that. Why couldn't they have done that to Roddy? Wouldn't that have
Because
been
he's
cool?
a cool guy, and I think
That would have been a cool way to end it, throw it away.
it would have been...
It'd been a good way to get number 2 out.
Well, I don't know, because...
I got another thing.
2 didn't make any damn money. It's... Yeah, folks that are watching this live, I'll be talking about that one on Tuesday because I picked that one for that show.
I picked out one other thing, and if you want to, we can go into Major League. But I thought this was, again, you said that it was compacted down, so there was some stuff that was like, had to make it into the movie. Yeah, you always do. So okay, so I'm taking it that was public access movie. Roddy McDowell was public access TV. Because they just went downtown, they found him at the TV station that was downtown, and then they found his home. Well, they found his apartment. How does that ever happen in real life? That doesn't happen, Tim. You know that doesn't happen. That's all for the movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they found him down. Oh my God!
But okay, did you ever watch Shock Theater here locally, or watch any of those horror movie hosts? First of all, it was never
very little bit. Very little bit.
But it was always on like Saturday afternoon. Or here locally, it was actually on our ABC affiliate, Channel 12. Svengoolie, which is still on the air. That was always a UHF station.
Yep.
And anybody that's working UHF, they basically have, I mean, nobody cares. They're not celebrities. It just doesn't make any sense to even, worry about it.
No,
So the thing is, that's why a lot of them always wear so much makeup. A lot of those guys that were the horror hosts, they would be doing sports or weather earlier in the day. Put the face mask on. But all right,
good movie. You know what? It's a good movie if you're not a person that likes horror movies and you want to dip into it. Maybe have a little bit of vampire thing here. Yeah, the vampire is a scary looking vampire. It's creepy looking with the teeth and everything, and we saw it plenty up on the screen. But you know what? It's a good movie. Tim, thank you. You started me out with a good one. I can't.
I thought this was the right one. I'm glad to hear that you didn't hate it to death. So now we're going to get into your movie.
Yep.
And what we are doing is Major League. There, got to put that on. And let's take a look at some clips up there. And we'll turn the Jeff box on. There's Jeff. So, I watched this. First of all, I love this movie. I'm going to take the suspense out of that.
Good.
I love this movie. I'm glad that you picked it for me. I don't know how I would feel about it if I was an Indians fan.
What do you mean?
A Cleveland fan. The opening credits, they're singing about when the river started on fire and never would go out. I'm like, well, this isn't it isn't a love letter to Cleveland.
No.
It's not a love letter to Cleveland.
But it's the truth.
No doubt.
They've had no success until LeBron James brought them a championship. That's why they've got this Calhoun.
I thought LeBron James was a basketball player.
Yeah, but there has been no championships. He brought a championship there in basketball.
Did he bring a bat with him?
No.
You can't throw all this sports stuff at me right away.
Doesn't that look like...
I get confused.
Doesn't that look like Sarandon? Go back and see Tom Berenger.
Yeah.
He looks like Sarandon, doesn't he?
Yeah. I believe Tom Berenger actually is a vampire in real life.
But I guess they got to show you the downtrodden history of
it established how terrible the Indians were, particularly at that point in their existence. I often thought it's surprising they made this about the Cleveland Indians because the obvious choice would have been the Cubs. Because everybody always talked about how bad the Cubs were. The Midwest and all that. But I think they actually wanted it to not be Chicago.
I'm glad it wasn't the Cubs. I would not watch that movie if it was the Cubs. I wouldn't. I'll be honest. I don't know. I'd burn it.
So for people that haven't seen this movie, the plot is a Vegas showgirl inherits the team. She wants to move it to Florida, but she can only do it if the attendance goes below a certain level.
Yeah.
So what she
400,000.
does, what?
Like 400,000, I think.
No, I think it's 800.
800,000.
I think it was 800,000, but
Okay.
still, that would be pathetic over a period of a season.
Yep.
800,000, that would be ridiculously. And
Wait.
actually, I didn't find that the plot was that far-fetched. But, it was always taken to comical extremes.
Oh, sure.
I could see this happen, and, as I was learning about the movie, I guess something like this actually did happen to the Minnesota Twins, where there was some sort of escape clause that if the attendance fell below a certain level, they could take off for Tampa. And then the Marlins happened, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I like with this movie is it has what I call the police academy scene where all the characters have their own entrance and you get to know each character like in 2 seconds. Oh, this guy's the rebel because he's coming out of jail. Hey, this guy is, the voodoo priest because, this is happening.
Joe Boo.
And, a guy drives up with a Volkswagen Bug that has a Rolls Royce hood on it. He calls himself Willie Mays Hayes, okay, I know exactly who this character is. And I think what this movie has become famous for is that cast. I don't think you could assemble anymore because they were all at the beginnings of their careers when they put this together.
Yeah,
Tom Berenger, I think, was kind of established. Corbin Burnson had only done L.A. Law. There was no Psych yet. Charlie Sheen was early on. I think it's even before Wall Street. I'm not quite sure. But it was early.
Did he do working, or what did he do with his brother?
Men at Work.
Yeah, was that beforehand?
I think that was after, because I don't think they let you make that movie until you've had some success. And I love that movie. I love that movie, but it is a guilty pleasure.
It is.
Anybody that's had brothers, too, it is such a brothers movie.
Wesley Snipes, that's got to be one of his first movies.
I think it was. It was that or close. One of the fans in the movie is the guy that was the janitor in Scrubs and was the father in The Middle. I forget
I know
his
what you're
name.
going to He's a construction worker.
He's like a longshoreman or something here.
He's not a longshoreman. He's a construction.
Was he construction?
Yeah,
he was construction.
He didn't say ahoy.
He wanted to be... He was doing a jig in the first scene, ladies and gentlemen.
Was he drinking rum?
And the President of the United States was in there.
Really?
From 24. Oh, what's his name? Yeah, Dennis Haysbert. Haysbert, who went on to be the president in 24. And I believe he's selling insurance these days with his voice. Which was funny, him putting on an accent, because he makes his money on not having his accent and being the voice, But I think we can all agree that the true star of this movie is Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker
Harry Doyle?
is the funniest. Every time he comes on, it's like, oh, this is where the funny stuff happens. Because a lot of stuff is not funny, ha-ha. It's like, oh, that's a humorous situation. They got a terrible plane, ha-ha. The guy's got out the duct tape and he's wrapping up the propeller blade. And you go, okay, that's amusing. I like that. That's funny. I know it's funny, but I'm not going to laugh out loud. And then he starts going into overdrive. He's drinking every time you turn around. And he says the line, I will let you say.
Just a bit outside.
And I read somewhere that that's like the most popular sportscaster line ever, to make fun of that line.
And the thing is that was... They gave him just a scenario, and they just let him run with it. None of those lines were scripted for him. That was all
right.
him, which shows you his genius.
And what I think is interesting, I read, I boned up, so I'd be ready for the show.
I noticed that, not as much as I did.
Yeah, and I found out that the Uke was hired, and the director didn't even know he was the radio play-by-play man for the Brewers at the time.
Really?
He hired him based on his work on Mr. Belvedere and the Light commercials. And I was like, okay, the light commercials were funny.
Yeah.
The Miller Lite commercials. But that he was hired based on his work in Mr. Belvedere boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Boggles my mind.
You would think that wouldn't have been the case, but he
And
certainly knows
you know
his
who's
stuff.
not used well
Who?
in this movie is Corbin Burnson. I think he's a good actor, and they barely touch his character. He's in it very, very briefly. But I do think this is one of my two favorite movies with this particular villain, Margaret Whitten, who a lot of people don't know, but she is the showgirl, and she is also the mom in one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Secret of My Success.
Secret of My Success. So she
could
had a
forget that?
hot streak.
Who could have? This is right around that same time. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who can forget that scene in the limo?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, are you kidding me?
The minute she realizes that she can get at this guy.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's so awesome.
And she definitely struck while the iron was hot in her career. I mean,
I don't think she had much of a career after this.
No,
And I looked on IMDb and I'm like, you know, it's like she circled the drain there. But she had a really good 1-2 here. And if you watch those movies, she's in there with a lot better actors than herself.
Yep.
And she is, your eyes go boop, right to her.
Yeah, she knocks it out of the park with this her
Nice.
character.
Nice. Get up, get out of here, gone.
Hey, are you gonna mention the manager at all? Did you do any research on him?
Jim
Because I have some. Yeah.
Gammon, I think is how it's pronounced. He's a character actor. I think he's played baseball managers more than a few times.
But what else he's known for is his part in Urban Cowboy.
On my list of shame, I have not seen Urban Cowboy.
We should put that. That could be. Wait a second, that's rodeo. That could be a sports-related movie, maybe in season
2.
Yep,
season 2.
But yes, he's in there. He runs the mechanical bull.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is one of those character actors that as soon as you see him, he doesn't even have to say anything, and you know what the character is.
Yeah.
You know what the character is. You know he isn't going to be a lion conniving, nothing like that. He's going to be a straight shooter. He isn't going to be particularly smooth. He's going to be a little bit crude and that sort of thing. But, you know, he's a good guy. And you certainly get that in this film.
So, I did mention Brad Weber in the open.
Yeah, what is a Brad Weber? What is that?
Brad Weber, I worked with Brad Weber at Laser 103. You might remember that in Milwaukee.
Yes.
He was a part-time disc jockey at the time, younger guy, but he played on our laser softball teams. He is jock. He's a good guy. He actually went out to California and he did a Alan Kowicki movie, but he's in this movie. So if you watch this movie and you see the scene where the catcher tries to tag out 2 Indians at one time and doesn't touch them, number 30, that's Brad Weber. That's his credit in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I did watch one of the sequels, the third.
Why would you go from 1 to 3?
Because I didn't have 2 sitting right there. 3 was like one button push, and I'm like, okay. And it certainly is not on the same level as that. Actually, one of the things I really liked about Major League was it was Major League. You know, usually you have these, this is a team that kind of sucks and all that.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's the Bad News Bears. It's a kids' little league, or it's some, you know, Japanese team that they're part of. This is, you know, these guys are professional. I think Tom Berenger is really underappreciated in this film because he's basically the straight man. But if you watch him, he's so professional as a professional baseball player. He's like, hey guys, calm down.
Yeah.
We're here to make money, you know, all that stuff. And it's like, that's how I imagine there are probably a lot of baseball players that are like, yeah, this is the office.
Career ball
I'm
player.
Here. Yeah.
That's all they know their whole life. They're a career ball player. When they retire, they're going to still do something in baseball. That's it. They're done.
Yeah. Really a great movie. Oh boy. I just realized something, buddy.
We're over time.
We're in overtime. I'm so glad I made that for this exact reason. We are in overtime, but folks, don't turn away just yet because the trivia question is going to happen as soon as that overly long video is complete.
Let me ask you though, Tim, because what do you think about that for someone to watch a sports movie? What do you think? Is that a first-time sports movie or something you could watch over?
This
and over?
is what I want to see when I see a sports movie because it's like sports light.
Okay, all right, perfect.
You know, it's a comedy that is set in sports. It's kind of like some people don't understand that an action movie that's set at Christmas isn't really a Christmas movie. But I'm not going to get into that right now. So you know.
Die Hard forever. All right, who's asking who the trivia question first?
Well, I think we have to have my big fancy graphic first.
Okay. So I made a bet with Tim before this that
you are going to know exactly what question I had, which is complete pablum.
And when I get this right, Tim, when I know this answer, game over, done.
Okay. Game over, done.
Game over, done. Yep.
Okay. I believe you. Now, wait. I got some things I'm supposed to push here.
Am I asking you first?
Like that right there. Yep. There we go. Now we got trivia time so everybody knows we're asking questions.
To see how
Who's going to go first? Who's batting first? See?
You are.
I know some sports metaphors. This is going to be a knockout. I'm asking the question first?
No, I'm going to ask you first. Well, all right. Wait a second. This is your home field. This is your studio. You asked me the question first.
All right.
I will let you know if that's the question I thought you were going to ask me.
Okay.
But I will answer your question right, I guarantee it.
And I did tell you I prepared a number of trivia questions in case I somehow blurted out the answer to one of these.
Did you?
I'm reviewing these.
Oh, it's on your screen? I'm not going to look. I don't want to look and see.
I know. It's such small type. I look at those Coke bottles you're wearing. No, you're not going to be able to read this.
Here's mine. You can't see it. It's on paper.
Yeah. I don't read paper. We all know that. Okay, I've decided which of the questions I'm going to ask you. And I think it's a fairly simple question. Are you ready?
Really? You're going to ask me a simple question? You're patronizing
You're going to get it wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, I'm going to give you the little bit harder one than that one.
Oh, don't patronize me. Come on. I'm a mosquito warrior.
Okay. We'll go with this one.
Can I pass on the question if I really think
I'll go ahead.
Let's do that.
All right. What television series did William Ragsdale lead that predated the premise of Pixar's Inside Out by nearly 3 decades?
Pass. Don't know.
Okay.
I'll never know that.
All right.
Wait.
In what film did Christopher Sarandon play Dustin Hoffman's homosexual, or I'm sorry, not Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino's homosexual lover? In what film did Chris Sarandon play Al Pacino's homosexual lover?
Yeah, isn't that the one where he's blind and he's got to smell everything?
That would be Scent of a Woman.
Yes.
Which Al Pacino won his Oscar for.
Yes.
And definitely is not the correct answer.
Okay, I don't know. I pass.
Okay.
What's the next one?
All right.
Are you going to give me answers to all these?
Yeah, I'll give them to you.
Because I know how that is. I mean, you hear a question and you don't get it, you can't sleep.
Well, we'll get them.
All right.
Oh, wait. I was supposed to do this to you, though. There we go. All right. What sci-fi series... This one you should get. What sci-fi series did Roddy McDowall lead while under makeup that made him almost impossible to recognize?
Fright Night. I don't know, man.
That one's the easy one. Okay.
You know what? Here's
the one I was going to ask. Here's the one I was going to ask you first.
This is not the way I thought this was going.
There were 2 big vampire movies in the 80s, Fright Night and The Lost Boys. Which movie made more money?
The Lost Boys. Dun, 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 dun. Yes! Okay.
Correct!
So
I'm going to give you 3 points for that. I don't think that's a very difficult question.
I would just take 1 point for that, actually.
I'm going to give you 3 because I see how this is going.
Okay, so
let me answer the other questions I gave.
Please do.
Chris Sarandon played Al Pacino's homosexual lover in Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, I know that
movie. It was his first credit. And if you ever are in a position to interview him, talk to him about that one because he thinks everybody forgot about it and they just want to talk about Princess Bride and Fright Night.
That's the bank robber movie.
Yes, the bank robber movie.
Okay, go ahead.
The television series that William Ragsdale led was called Herman's Head. And it was right after, I think, The Simpsons and before Married with Children, back when Fox had that block. And it was all about William Ragsdale was Herman, and he had these different voices in his head, like intellect and love and all this. Basically, the idea of Inside Out.
That was a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
And I saw that show. I watched that.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the sci-fi series that Roddy McDowall led, which I thought for sure you would get, was The Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
He was the main chimpanzee.
So the way that I thought these trivia questions were going to go was going to be something that came
in the movie. All right, here you go. I got one.
Okay. I probably won't get this right now.
What's the body count in Fright Night? I figured I should ask that first because now you're going to be expecting that.
Including
all
vampires?
Including vampires.
All right, so that's...
I'll give you 3 bodies either direction.
No, I'll get it spot on.
Okay. Well, go ahead and tell me who you're counting.
Okay, so I'm counting the first one that they talk about. We're not talking about any fake ones that were on the TV show Fright Night.
Correct.
Okay, so we're talking about stuff that happened in the movie. I almost
Correct.
swore. All right, so the first one you hear on the television set that someone was falling behind on the railroad thing. So that's one. So the next one is the next one is that Charlie sees that woman up in the thing, and that one's number 2. That's in the Jeep. So that's 2.
Yeah, the brunette with the gray cans.
Yes. So that's.
You're welcome for that, by the way.
Yes, she should have been his. She should have been his girlfriend.
Right.
So that's 2. All right. So then
She was like a playmate or something, I think.
I have no idea. I don't get the credits.
Yeah.
So I just got through the movie. All right. So we got 2 of those. So we got the actual vampire himself. We got his demon friend. That's 4. We've got evil. That's 5.
Yep.
So now it's curious. Did the bouncer die? That was in the nightclub. Did he die?
I believe he did, and there was that other bouncer as well. So
that's 7.
Yeah.
And then the mom didn't die.
Yeah, you got it.
7.
You got it.
Look at that. I watched the movie.
You did a good job. Now, I will never ask body count again.
You don't have to.
Because.
So should I tell you what I thought the question was going to be?
I'm going to give you 5 points for that. I'm going to give you 5.
For getting all the guys?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You went and walked it right through. I'm going to give you 5 points. That's 5 for Jeff. Okay.
So what if I ask you a question about Fright Night and you don't get it right?
That wouldn't surprise me. I have always said, this is why there's like trivia nights at work. Yeah. I won't be involved because I'm like, trivia is too vast. You can't study for it. You don't know.
But I honestly thought it was going to come from opening credits to closing credits. I didn't think it was going to be like outside, just so we know going forward. So
I'm still going to make other stuff up.
But still have some from the movie.
Be horrible.
So this is what I thought you were going to ask me. And this is what I would have asked if I was in your chair.
Okay.
What are the call letters of the television station that Roddy McDowall?
Oh shit! I would never do something like that. That's way too trivial.
But I watched for that. That's how in depth I am.
That's why you had the body count ready to go.
KBHX.
KBHX.
Right there. That's it. That's what I figured.
There it is.
That's what I figured you were going to ask. All right. Yeah. So
God.
That's the road.
We are so sad. All right, go on.
But you know where this is going to go with mine now.
Okay. So I'm in trouble.
What's Harry Doyle's drink of choice in the press box?
I want to say it's Jack Daniels.
You're gonna get a point, or you're gonna get however many points you want for that. That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I thought it was Jack. Okay.
Well, no.
Wait. There.
Why doesn't that make a noise?
It does, and it's super quiet, and that needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
That's on the list.
Hey, what are you doing here? Is this like B-rated stuff here? What's going on here? But anyways, all right. How about this one? I'll ask you another one. That I need you to get one.
Okay.
Get that music going again. One more trivia time. One more trivia.
All right.
Well, but congratulations on getting my question right.
Okay.
How fast was Charlie Wild Thing Sheen's final pitch to strike out the New York Yankees? How fast was that final pitch?
Well, I know they kind of built it because the first one was in the upper 80s, and it was in the 90s, and then I think it was 102, something
Is that your final answer?
God,
I'm not giving you any miles per hour on either side. I'm not giving you.
I'll go with it.
I'm not as nice as you.
102.
Wrong.
Oh.
101.
101. You are a fucker. All right.
But you know what, though, Tim? That was fun. I like trivia time.
I do, too. I think it's a lot of fun.
But you know what? I don't know. I'm not going to be able to get through kind of questions, man. I'm not going to know all that stuff.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Stick with questions from the movie. I'll be fine.
All right. Well, it's time to go to the scoreboard.
Oh.
And
yeah, you got to give yourself your own trivia answer.
Yeah, no.
It'll be great.
I got to figure out how to do this. Hold on.
Where's your brother?
This is fun. Yeah, where is he? We both got 5s, right?
Sure.
So let's see if that works. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
By the way, I was actually at part of the Major League movie.
I did like the Jeff character.
No. Actually,
I saw Jeff and I said, "Look at that guy. All he can do is sit there and ask the concession guy for ice. This is all he does in the whole movie. He's like, hey, you got any ice for this?"
The thing is he had ice. But anyways, no, I actually took a date. It's the scene where the Duke comes in to come in relief for the Yankees. That's the scene. And then my buddy John, he was behind home plate during the final scene, so we were all in there. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. When I watched it, getting to see County Stadium again.
Yes.
It was funny because I'm like, I wasn't a sports fan like you, but I actually at one point I said those were the seats I saw my first baseball game in, because my first baseball game, you're going to be super jealous of this.
Let's hear it.
My brother and I got it. My parents bought it at a church auction.
Yep.
Somebody had season tickets for the 2 seats right behind the dugout of the Brewers, right where the stairs are for them to come out. We were sitting right there. And then every game after that, I watched from the Brewers Pepsi fan club.
I had those too. I had those tickets too.
What was it, third base side, I think? Yeah, we were sitting out there going, can't see the ball over here.
Yep, I had the Pepsi fan. But you know what? Think about it. That was a great deal as a kid.
Oh, it was a great deal.
If you love sports, you get...
And you got What's Brewing magazine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still have them.
Okay. You probably do.
I do. I got so much. You got to come over and I got to show you all my baseball stuff. But go ahead. God. So we each got 5s.
Now we have to grade the movies.
Let's do it this way. Tell me what my grade would be, and then I'll give you your grade, because your grade is obviously higher than mine because you got my answer right. I got the body count, but I got
no. The grade is, I'm going to tell you
the movie
what
grade.
the movie.
Oh, I thought
I'm going to say
answer. Okay,
no. I'm going to give it. I give Major League an 8. It isn't the greatest movie, or it's in a 10-point scale.
But is it an 8 for a person that doesn't watch sports movies, or just
yes?
an 8?
It's my grade.
Oh, okay. Of what you thought. Okay, so for a horror movie.
Yeah. Now you're saying a horror movie, but you're a sports guy. So you tell me what you actually would rate it, not what you think how good a horror movie it is or whatever, or how you like it.
I could see myself giving it an 8 also. I know, I really could. I mean, it was right there. It had suspense.
This is going to be a little like the pennant race. That's what I'm seeing. This is like the pennant race.
But I could see that, though. If I was a guy who doesn't watch horror movies, which I'm not, I could give it that. It was solid. It was a solid movie.
Yeah. I think the acting is what drags it along. Roddy McDowall and Chris Sarandon are just really fun to watch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And here's another fun fact about Chris Sarandon. This would have been one of the trivia questions had it been all, based on what was on screen. I would have asked, what is it that Chris Sarandon is seen eating throughout the movie?
An apple.
Yes. Do you know why?
Because vampires can eat apples. I don't know why.
You almost had me there.
But you know what,
almost had me.
You have to give me credit. If there's going to be a trivia question about the movie,
now I'm worried. Now I'm worried.
But wait, why can Tell me why, because I know there's a reason why. Why?
There is a reason why.
Why?
You want to know the reason why? The reason why is that he thought fruit bat. He thought, well, he probably has some fruit bat DNA, so I'm going to eat fruit all the time.
That's lame.
It is. I would have said it's good for your teeth.
Did you make that up?
No, this is what I read.
That's lame.
Yeah.
That's really lame.
Well, you try to tell Chris Sarandon that. He will.
Wait a second. So that was his?
Yes.
That was his
That was his idea. That was not the idea of the director. Yeah. Give me one
I
of
would
these.
love to talk about it. Be like,
you say, I'm Lieutenant Natalia. You killed my father, and now's your time to die.
Probably should
You just run down the hall.
He should have been drinking a Bloody Mary.
He should have.
There you go.
He should have. All right. Hey, we are completely over time by only 20 minutes.
But
so
you know
I
how
think
much
we
fun
did
that
good.
was? That was a great time.
A lot of fun.
Anybody who watched it or who will watch it will stick around for 50 minutes because this was entertaining.
You know what I hope
What?
is that some of the sports guys out there do try out Fright Night. And I hope some of my fellow horror fans try out Major League.
Yeah.
And get behind the Jeff character, everybody. The poor Jeff character is without ice. He really needs your support. See, look, he even came with the hat and everything.
I'm prepared.
Yeah, recreating his role as the Jeff character. So
there you go. Absolutely, Tim. Tim, this is a blast. I'm looking forward to next week. What's next week?
Next week, we have 2 more movies.
Should we tell them or?
I think maybe we should. I think maybe we should.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to tell you what I picked for you, and you're going to assign to me. So I picked the original 1933 King Kong, one of the greatest movies ever made. You're going to get the awesome experience of watching King Kong in all of its black and white glory.
You couldn't give me the Jessica Lange King Kong, could you?
No, because I know you've seen that.
All right, that's fine. And what did I give you, Tim? Hey,
an aneurysm.
If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. I gave you Days of Thunder with Cole Trickle.
Yeah.
You know, Rowdy Burns. It's going to be a good movie. I mean, if you like racing, if you don't like racing, you're going to love it.
Well, as you know,
have surround sound, right?
I do have surround sound.
I'm coming over to watch it with you.
Full surround sound.
We're going to watch it this week together. You get Nicole Kidman. I get black and white.
Hey, I'll take Nicole Kidman.
I know. You get...
Fay Wray was a good-looking woman.
It's in black and white. Is shot in 36?
33.
Ooh, I was close.
33.
That's
going to be the damn trivia question.
The year of the first All-Star game. 1933 in Chicago.
1933?
Who hit the first home run?
Gorman Thomas.
Babe Ruth.
Oh. I was close, though.
About the same stature, yeah.
Yeah. So, I got that going
Tim.
for me. And a home run.
I got that
now,
going for
let me remember, the home run
shot.
is when the guy can't get up off the canvas, right?
Yeah, and you got to make sure you pull the flag stick out before, all that good stuff.
All right, let's end the show.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody, for
thank you.
Oh, wait, I had a closing written, and I forgot. Here it is.
Cool. Yeah, because I do the open. You do the close.
Yes. All right, time to close the crypt and call the game. Thank you all for watching. Oh, and I got this on too small of a screen. Look at that. Thank you all for watching. Remember to share and subscribe to our show and feed. You can find the show at otherworldlyculture.com and follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Pandora, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of other places that I forgot about. If it's sports, it's a home run. If it's horror, run home. We're dead on the bases, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Otherworldly.